Hello, welcome everyone. This is Patty Bennett, and today we are talking about framed collages for our stamped images. I have this beautiful, well, I think it's beautiful, floral framed collage that I'm going to hang in my craft room. And I wanted to share all the details with you today. We're going to be talking about the measurements, the coloring, some options for your actual floral pieces, and then I will take your questions if you have any. So today is Friday, April 11th at 10 a.m. Pacific time on Facebook. That is where I do my lives. And this might be something you're watching on YouTube or on my blog later. So whether you are joining live or whether you are watching a replay, I just wanted to say hello and welcome. And I'm so happy you're here. So if you're watching live, please say hi in the Facebook chat so I can say hello to you. Oh my goodness, hello. Oh, Tammy loves the rainbow. Yes, I just put those out. Those are the colors that I was using on this collage. So those are the colors we're going to be talking about today. I'm glad you like it. Hi, everybody. Hey, Shan, Jeanne, Kelly, Debbie. Oh, I saw a couple people float by in the beginning and the comments are gone. But hello, everyone who's joining live. I'm so happy that you are here. I hope that you enjoy the tips and the projects today. I'm really excited about them. I have a little bit of a backstory to share with you about the collage, and then we will get going with the coloring tips and the measurements. And by the way, if you are looking for the measurements or the close-up photos of what I show you today, tomorrow they will be on my blog. So April 12th is a Saturday. pattystamps.com is where you will be able to find the photos, the measurements, all the information about this collage. But the supplies are actually there on my blog today. So if you wanted to check out these colors, if you wanted to get the paper or the stamp sets or whatever, those are all listed already on my blog today. So like I said in the beginning, my name is Patty Bennett, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. In 2 more months, I will be celebrating 30 years as a demonstrator. And the more I say that, the more it's really hitting me. Like, that is a long time. So I have lots of content on my blog for you, and I hope that you enjoy the daily inspiration there at pattystamps.com. If you need a demonstrator, I'm happy to help you with catalogs, orders, newsletters. You can always sign up for my newsletter, etc. So yes, Debbie, I'm going to be talking about the penguin gift that Tammy gave me. I have that right here to show you. Oh, good, Kathy. Thank you. I'm glad that you like it. Thanks, Leela. Thank you, everybody. So let's go ahead and get started. We are talking about framed collages today. And over the years, I have made framed collages for myself for various holidays or seasons. And I do have just a couple over here to share with you. This was a Halloween collage that actually I made this with Tammy. I remember sitting on her patio by her pool, and we used, I think, didn't we use a paper pumpkin? And then maybe, I don't know, another kit? I can't remember exactly, but I think this was paper pumpkin. And we created these. This is sort of what I think of when I think about a more typical framed collage. So I think about a square and equal squares, like this one you can see had 9 smaller squares. We could have probably squeezed in and fit 16, but this was the layout that we chose to do. And this is kind of how I think of a collage. And so my brain tends to think very, like, I call this in the box, right? So very symmetrical, evenly spaced, everything's based on a square. And that's how my brain likes to think about collages. And ever since making this one and some other ones before, I have wanted to do a collage for every season. of, well, maybe more than 4 seasons. So like maybe 4 seasons plus maybe a couple of extra throughout the year, like maybe a 4th of July plus a summer, maybe a Christmas plus a winter. But I've been wanting to do that, and I just have not allowed myself the time to take a step back and enjoy this process and make them. And so I finally said to myself this week, after dealing with taxes, I said, I just need a break. I just want to create a collage for fun for myself that I really enjoy. And that's how I came up with this one. But you'll notice it's a little bit different of a layout. So I want to go over that with you as we get into this, the dimensions and whatnot. But I did also want to show you, this is one that Tammy made for me as a Christmas gift. And you can see it's kind of the same idea based on the layered squares, the squares inside, and then she did a rectangle for 2 of the spaces. And I love this. And I wanted to give myself that freedom to kind of change it up a little bit like Tammy did. I love this layout. And I thought, well, I could copy it exactly, but I really kind of wanted to do something yet a little bit different as well. So that's why I came up with this particular layout. And so we'll talk about that. But, oh, I forgot to tell you the funny story about when I was at Tammy's making this. I think, Tammy can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that this was the time that I almost fell in your pool. Do you remember that? My chair was backed up to the edge of the pool, and I think I stepped back and I almost fell in the pool. I was remembering that as I was taking this out to show everybody, and I was just laughing to myself. Oh, thank you, Tammy. I'm glad you liked the layout. Thank you. Let's see. Shan says it's a good way to use up paper we don't want to use up. So I'm going to talk to you about that as well. Oh, good. Tammy says she's inspired to do one for every season. That's fabulous. I'm glad that you are inspired. I know. Debbie says, oh my goodness, you two girls. I know. We kind of get into some fun. And you know that meme that says something about there's one person in your life that you shouldn't sit next to if it's a serious situation? Kind of feel like that's Tammy, because we can just make each other bust up. And yeah, so anyway, yes, we have a lot of fun. Okay, so let's talk about this collage and what I used and why it has the measurements that it has. I wanted to color. You know I love flowers. You know I love to color. And in March, when I was at the Stampin Up on stage event, so many people came up to me and said, oh, I love your videos. I love your projects. But the most popular thing that people said to me was, I love it when you color with blends. I mean, if I had $1 for everyone that gave me that kind compliment, I could buy dinner for the week. So I just personally wanted to say thank you to everybody that encouraged me and left me with those kind words in March. But it made me think I need to do more coloring videos. Number one, because you love it, but number two, because I love it. It feeds my soul. I love to color. And I thought, I am just going to give myself permission to make this collage, to color, to have fun, and just play with this beautiful rainbow of colors. So that's what I did. I started with stamping on squares. So these are the stylish shaped. I think you can see it has the stitching around the edge. I love these squares. If you've been following me a while, you know that I love to just have like a little packet of die cut shapes and squares, and I mean, all different dies, right? I have lots of different sizes. And so I just started stamping on squares. Like you can see, that was this one here. And here's this one. So I have the hydrangea, the tulips. Here's another square. This set I had not used yet. Let me show you what this is from. This is a fairly new set and I hadn't used it. It's called Kiss of Texture and it's actually now on sale on the last chance list. It is meant to do the kissing technique, but I did not kiss with this one. I just stamped the flower on that medium size square. So that's that one. And then I have this image. I don't, what, a daisy, a lazy Susan, I don't know, whatever that flower is. You can color it any color and make it look like lots of different things. And then I used, this is actually, see, that's the smaller part of that stamp. So it's this smaller part down here from Mixed Florals, and this one is the top part. So that one went here. And then I thought I am going to stamp on some of the Textured Notes dies. So those are all rectangles. And if you know me well, you know this gives me a little bit of anxiety to mix and match the squares and the rectangles. And the fact that this did not like take up that extra space, yes, it gives me a little anxiety, but I did it. It's fine. I love it. Well, I'm convincing myself that I love it. But I did it. Okay. And then I used one of the smaller rectangles in that same set to put down here. And then another rectangle here for the Hello Spring. And by the way, that is in Storybook Life. And I'll show you one at the end that I used Easter blessings and I made a different version of this with Easter blessings. So I love this set. This is a great set for card making, scrapbooking, collages, whatever you want to use it for. So there's the layout. And basically the way that my brain works, like I said, this would be my preference. Perfectly matched, 9 squares, everything equally spaced. That's my preference. This is how my engineering brain works. But the fact that I have this nice border all the way around, and I've layered it onto the squares, I'm trying to make my brain happy to say it's okay to mix and match the squares and the rectangles. So that's how I came up with this layout. You can either use die cut squares like I did. Here's some of the, oh, maybe I should have used, no, that would have been too wide. But that's a possibility. Maybe I'll do that textured note in a future one. So that's a possibility. But you can see I used the next one down for that. But you can use die cuts that you have or that you create, or you can simply cut pieces to fit just cardstock. They don't have to be die cut. But I do really like the stitched detail around the edge, which is why I decided to do the die cuts rather than just cutting pieces. Oh, thank you, Claire. Thank you so much. She said my coloring is the best. You're so sweet. I have loved to color ever since I was little too, Mary. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. Anything else? Thank you, Tracy. Thanks, Debbie. I'm just reading comments. Hang with me 1 second. Oh, thank you, Tammy. She says she's proud of me. Oh, Debbie, you're so sweet. She says there are a lot of colorers on YouTube, but I like your videos since you use the blends. You are so sweet. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, this definitely shouts spring. It shouts Easter. It shouts even kind of Mother's Day, right? I mean, this, I think, has a lot going on here for anyone who loves the flowers and whatnot. Okay, so that explains the layout of these squares. I'm going to do some coloring with you in a minute, but while we're talking about the layout, let me just kind of complete my thought and tell you how I figured out the dimensions for this. So this is a 12 by 12 frame. This piece of paper, now you might think that I started with this and pulled out my rainbow of colors. I did not. I started coloring first. I used all of these colors that I love. These are on my blog today. All the colors are there. This visual will be on my blog tomorrow. But these are colors that I love. But you'll notice it does not include Poppy Parade or Real Red. I stuck with a little bit lighter versions. I didn't go into those darker reds, which I normally do. I was trying to incorporate the pinks and purples and not go to the reds. So this is what I used. And when I was done, I decided that this piece of paper from the, hang on, what is this called? I want to make sure I call it the right thing. The Lovely Garden. It's the Lovely Garden designer paper. This was an online exclusive product, so you won't find it in catalogs. And I decided that this piece would just be perfect. It pulled in every single color that I used. It is a different green, but I feel like that was okay. I wanted these greens to be brighter. I did not use darker greens on the coloring, but I love how this turned out, and the white frame was perfect. I do have, oh, well, the one I'm going to show you at the end is in a black frame, and it makes a big difference. So anyway, so what was I saying? So I guess I'm explaining the sizes. So on my blog tomorrow, and actually, let me just hold that there. You're welcome to take a screenshot if you want, but this will be on my blog tomorrow. What I started with was an 8.5 inch square of cardstock. So that is this bubble bath piece here. And if you're using 8.5 by 11, then of course the largest square you can get is 8.5 inches. That's why I used this. You could make all of these layers bigger, and you could start with 12 by 12, but this is, I'm just showing you what I did. So I started with 8.5 inch square. That's the bubble bath. I layered it onto a 9.25 inch square of white. So you do have to use 12 by 12 for that. Then I layered it onto a printed piece. That's this green. In this one, it's, this is a new pack. I'm going to show you that in a minute. This is a new pack, and that's 10 by 10. And then this back layer is the 12 by 12 printed paper that I just showed you from Lovely Garden. But what I did was a scrapbooking hack, and it's called gutting. So do you see right under here, that 12 by 12 actually is gutted out. And that just simply means that you cut a square out of the 12 by 12. So if I were to do this, and oh, hang on, my marker just fell in the garbage can. That's not good. Good grief. Okay, back to this. So if you were actually to look underneath here, you would see that this piece was cut out of my 12 by 12 because I can get at least 2 card fronts out of that. There's no use this hiding under there forever, right? So I gutted out the 12 by 12, and I showed that on a couple of my scrapbooking videos recently. But then because that has a hole in it, I actually used one more piece of white, and I have the whole thing backed onto white. You probably don't have to, especially in a frame. It's like not going anywhere, but I did anyway, just so that it was a little bit sturdier. So again, if we go from the back, we have 12 by 12, 12 by 12, gutted out, 10 by 10, 9.25 square, 9.25 by 9.25, and 8.5 square. So those are the dimensions that I came up with for this. You can adapt it to anything that you like, but this is how I came up with this particular collage. And this will be on my blog tomorrow if you want to print it or pin it tomorrow. Oh, you know what, Debbie? I was going to say that before I picked all those pieces up. Debbie said it's beautiful in black and white, and I was going to mention that. Right before I picked all of these up, I was even going to, oops, this one goes up here. I was even going to say that, like, if you didn't want to color, or if you wanted a really different look, it does look really cool in black and white, doesn't it? And then you could even go with maybe a printed piece right here instead of the plain cardstock, and you could really jazz it up with some patterns. But thank you. I'm so glad that you mentioned it because I meant to say that and I forgot. Let's see. Debbie says, if we don't have every color of blends that you do, how do you suggest we substitute? So I can talk about that as we color. And let's see. Yeah, not to waste the DSP, Holly. Exactly. Thank you, Debbie. I'm glad it's helpful. Welcome, Tony and Bernice. I'm glad you're here. What color order do you use to store your blends? Rainbow order, Mary. If you go onto my blog, pattystamps.com, and you search rainbow order, you will see my rainbow order for my ink pads, for my blends, for my paper, and for my blending brushes. They are all stored in rainbow order. It's just how my brain works. There's no right or wrong. That's just how my brain works. So I do have, let me just show you this to reinforce before we move on. I do have those pieces cut. This is going to be my next collage. So this would be your 8.5 inch square layered onto your 9 1/4 inch white, layered onto a piece of designer paper that is 10 by 10. Then here's a good reference here for what I said when I gutted it out. You can see I cut out a piece in the middle, and I think it's about, I forget, what did I cut? There's no like right or wrong. Let me just see. Two-ish inches. Yeah. So I did around about 2 inches around. There's no right or wrong there. It's just whatever you want to do. And then the white in the back. Okay. So that's the willow, the white willow. I always want to say that backwards, the white willow. And so that's I was going to say layering system. It's just the layers. It's just the dimensions that I picked. And this paper, if you're not recognizing it, this is a brand new one, and it is called Floral Impressions. It will be available May 6th to everyone. And I just have to show you this one piece because this is my favorite piece. Look at this amazing rainbow in this piece. I am in love with this piece. And somebody mentioned right at the beginning about using the paper that you are hoarding or don't want to use. That is exactly what I did. I did not want to use up this paper. And I said, oh my goodness, stop doing that. You know what? It's $12.50 a pack. That's not the end of the world. Buy a second pack, use up the paper, make yourself happy, make a pretty project, and stop the hoarding. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to pound on the table. Stop the hoarding. Use the paper. Make yourself happy. So that's what I did. So I may use this for the back of a collage coming up. I don't know yet. Maybe this will turn into cards. I'm not sure, but I love this piece. And these patterns are from this pack. So this is Strawberry Slush, I think. Yes, this is this is Flirty Flamingo. Here's what it would look like with Strawberry Slush. It would just pump. Oh, sorry for the glare. Let me open this pack. I've used up all my other Strawberry Slush. So let me open this and show you what this would look like with Strawberry Slush. I was going to use Strawberry Slush because it makes these flowers pop. But I don't have the Strawberry Slush blends yet. So that's why I used Flirty Flamingo. And you can see the difference. This makes it a little more muted. And this is just going to make the whole thing really pop. So there's your kind of some fun options to think about. But yeah, I was going to do that. And then I decided, no, I need to be able to use the markers that go with this. So I am going to bring in Poppy Parade with the Flirty Flamingo when I do this one. And can't you just see it already? Like the beautifulness of how this is going to look if we did the same layout. Won't this be pretty? So we can just use the exact same layout if we wanted to and color it, but I would add Strawberry Slush and Poppy Parade into this one to make it be a little more red than purple pink. Like I won't use the purples do those even show up here? I think they barely show. I wouldn't use the purples up there. I would substitute in my oranger, is that a word? My reds that are more on the orange side than the cooler purples. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that so that you kind of have a little more of a visual of how this goes together. And please, somebody don't let me forget at the end to show you this other idea that I have. If coloring intimidates you, maybe if you don't want to do the coloring, I have a really fun option for you as well. So please don't let me forget that. Okay, let me just see if there were any questions. Oh, Tammy loves it. Thank you. Thank you, Josie. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, Debbie, can't wait for the new catalog. I know. It's so awesome. And all of the online exclusives, too. All right, so let's look at some coloring tips, because I know that's partially the reason that you're here, right? So when you color, you always want to have some grid paper or some scrap paper or something handy, because you don't want it to bleed through onto your tabletop. You want the color to bleed through. You don't want it to get on your tabletop. That's how I should have said that. I'm going to start with this one, and let me see if I can, I'm going to just see if I can get this in the frame a little bit so you can kind of see where I'm headed with that. I wanted to show you how I did the coloring on a couple of these, and then I think you can just kind of use that as a guide if you want to color some other images or use other colors. So on this one, I started with the light. Patty word is beautifulness. Thank you. Oh, thank you. So I started with the light lemon lolly, and one of my customers, wait, let me just tell you about this first, and then I'll tell you about lolly. And this will help answer. I think Debbie was asking, what if you don't have every color? Oh, now what was I saying? Good heavens, stop. I have so many thoughts in my head. Oh, so let me start with this. Sorry. My poor brain, and I only had 1 cup of coffee. Let me zoom in. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm starting with strokes. I don't know if you saw, but I was just kind of going like this, the shape of the flower. I'm not coloring in the whole thing. I want to leave some white. I want to leave some room for the other colors to not blend on top of the lolly. That's why I colored it like that. So I started with light lemon lolly. Now, let me tell you my color story here. One of my customers was just starting out. She's just starting with her collection of blends, and she was saying, what should I get? Lemon lolly or daffodil delight? And I said, I feel like daffodil delight is a little bit dark. If you like crushed curry, if you like to go to the darker yellows, get the daffodil delight. If you like the lighter, brighter yellows, get the lolly. So I think it was Debbie asking earlier here. She said, you know, what if we don't have all the colors? So you don't have to have all the colors. You can see that I've only got 1 set of the yellows here. So if you have, here's what I would suggest. 1 set of the reds, 1 set of pinks, 1 set of oranges, 1 set of yellows, 1 set of purples, 1 set of blues, and 1 set of greens. That's 7 sets. If that's all you start with, you can blend and you can mix and match colors, and you can create other colors. You can make them darker. You can keep them lighter. You don't have to have, like, for instance, 4 shades of yellow, 8 shades of purple. You don't have to. So hopefully over the years, if you've been watching my Stampin' Blends videos, you've seen how I create other colors by blending different colors together. So that's my suggestion, like basically 7 sets. So pick a red, either poppy, real red, or cherry cobbler. Pick one of those. Pick a pink. So that would be like melon mambo. I would say like a bubble bath, or hang on, what's this? Berry Burst, one of those. Pick an orange. So either pick pumpkin pie or peach pie or Calypso coral. So pick one from each, and then as you start getting more in your collection, start filling in where you would, like if you picked Poppy Parade, then next time get Cherry Cobbler. So you have a really light and a really dark. Anyway, sorry, that's kind of the long answer, but you know what I'm trying to convey, I hope. All right, so now let's see, I'm going to go to Bubble Bath, and I'm going to kind of do the same thing, but I'm going to try to just go into the areas that I left white. I'm not really trying to overlap that yellow because at this point I don't want to create orange. I'm going to keep my yellow and my pink separate. So I have light Lemon Lolly, I have light Bubble Bath on there. And then I am going to go into slightly darker, which would be the light Flirty Flamingo. And I'm going to just add some color where I know that this flower would be darker. And it's basically where they have the lines or where those petals are like overlapping. So hopefully you can see that even just at 3 light colors, we have some beautiful, variegated variation of colors happening. And then I'm going to pop in with my dark Lolly and just go over a little bit. I am not doing I'm not doing solid coloring. You can see that, right? I'm just giving a few strokes here just to give some, I don't know, whatever you call this. I'm not coloring it in solid. That's all. That's all there is to that. And then I'm going to go over just a little bit of the light Bubble Bath with some dark Bubble Bath. And that's it. And I'm going to make myself stop. That's all I'm going to do to that image. And I think that just turns out so pretty to just have those strokes of color rather than the solid coloring and then the building up and the shading. So that is how I did this one. Let me zoom back out. Oops, wait, hang on. Sorry, it disappeared on me. All right, so that's how I did this one and this one and this one. So it's just strokes of color. It's not coloring in solid. Now, if you want to color in solid, that's how I did these two. So I thought I would just show you that as a reminder of how to do a more solid image. And I'll use the bigger one just because that one is easier to see. And then I'll finish up with the green there so you can see the colored in. And I do want to just show you, I hope she doesn't mind. This is a beautiful card that my friend Jan gave me. She is just kind of starting with the Stampin' Blends, and I absolutely love these colors that she mixed and matched on here. And I think this is just really, really beautiful. Didn't she do a beautiful job? And look at this fun card. Like, it's so cool. This tucks into here. Isn't that beautiful? And she decorated the flap. I think it's beautiful. I just had to show you that. So for coloring in a little more solid, I'm going to use the kind of the same colors as over here. So we want to do our like flamingo and our Bubble Bath. And I actually did a little bit of the Petunia Pop. Those are kind of the colors that I used. And then I hit a little bit of the dark shadows with the dark Blackberry Bliss. But when you do this type of an image that you want colored in solid, I just take whatever is going to be my lightest color, which actually, here's where your swatching will help. because I almost grabbed Light Flirty Flamingo, but you can see when you swatch them, Light Bubble Bath is actually your lightest out of all of these. So I'm going to start with my Light Bubble Bath and just basically color in, just very loosely color in those petals. And then I can add a darker color, but it's going to immediately just blend together. And I want it to stand out just a little. So I'm going to move over to the centers and color those next. And just to be different, I think I'm going to do it with the yellow. So that's the light lolly. Now we'll go to the next darker color, which would be the dark bubble bath. And I'm going to put some color here where the petals would be kind of curving into that center. And then we'll switch back to this and give it some dark where they have the dark. So that's the dark lemon lolly. And then I'm going to go to Flirty Flamingo and put a little bit extra of the dark up here. And then let's do some peach pie, just a little bit right here to darken up the yellow. Ooh, see, like that was beautiful. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some peach pie in these to pull out that peach pie. Just a couple dabs of that color. And then I think I'll go back to, let's do the light bubble bath. That's dark, light bubble bath. And we'll just pull that color back down there. And that's going to leave us with this nice ombre of pinks. And then we'll do a little bit of the dark lolly and light peach pie on those. That's a really pretty combo. I like that a lot. And then let's just do the greens, and I'll show you what I do with the greens. I actually was mixing and matching lemon lime twist and granny apple green. It's one of my favorite combos. And the reason that lemon lime twist works so well with this is because it has a lot of yellow in it, and we used yellow in these flowers. And I've talked about that in my color theory videos. And it's something that not everybody either kind of agrees with or quite understands. But colors have either like a yellow or a red undertone. And when you keep all of the yellow undertones together or all of the red undertones together, it really does help the color. What do I want to use? What do I want to say? It just helps your eye to see that those colors blend well together because you're using everything that has a cool undertone or a warm undertone. So I have been going back and forth while I was rambling on between lemon lime twist and granny apple green, and just doing lights and darks and mixing and matching. And then as that dries, I'm going to go back one last time with my dark granny apple, and I'm going to hit the dark areas one last time. But we can add our color here to these little, I don't know what these are exactly, whatever they are. Let's do blue on here. So I will start with just light balmy blue, give a little bit of light blue on these, and then add, I think I'll do light blueberry bushel to give those just a little bit of shadow. And then I think let's do some light. No, let's go back to balmy blue. Let's go to dark balmy blue just to blend those together. There we go. There we go. Oh, I love that. I love them both. Aren't they so pretty? So this is the like stroke method. Is that what we would call it? Where I just did strokes of color. This is the coloring in method. And there's no right or wrong. It's whatever you love to do. It's whatever colors you want to use. Oh, I said I would go back, sorry, with the dark Granny Apple. And I'm just going to add a little bit of dark here where I know there would be some shadows. And a little bit here, dark Granny Apple. In my coloring videos, I like to talk about how darks against lights pop. They make things pop. And so that's why I like to do the dark last, add the dark in last, and do it again. And that really bounces off the lighter colors. Like you have the light pink and the dark green. And I like how that looks. I like that pop of dark and light. And then I am going to put some Flirty Flamingo on these just to bring in a little more of the pink, and add just a little bit of dark Flirty Flamingo right here at the base of those. And do you see what that did to it? Didn't that just make it pop? You have the dark flamingo and the light yellow next to each other, and that just really makes them pop. So don't be afraid to keep layering some colors. When you let them dry in between, that's when they will give you a little more of a pop of color. If you just keep coloring one on top of the other, just coloring, they blend together. But I like to add that dark pop right at the end. Oh, Sherry, you're so sweet. She says she looks forward to my Facebook Lives all week long. You are just so sweet. Can I do a class on these projects? Well, this is your free class, Cheryl. What can you, like, what did you want the pieces? Like, I'm not sure. You can order all of the supplies off of my blog today, if that's what you mean. I'm not sure what you mean by a class. Oh, Barbara, good question. So she's asking the difference. When do I decide if I want to do the strokes or if I want to do the coloring in? I don't really have a method. I just do whatever I feel like doing or trying. And I don't know. There is no right or wrong. There's no method to that. So it's whatever you would like to do. A coloring class. This is your coloring class, Elizabeth. This is your free coloring class. And I have about 40 Stampin' Blends videos on my YouTube channel. So if you go to my playlists on Patty Stamps YouTube channel, you can watch all my coloring lessons for free. Everything is free. Yes, Cindy, I did show how to gut the 12 by 12 on one of my scrapbooking videos. So I can try to remember to link that to you. Or if you would like to message me, I can give you the link to that. Thank you, Beth. I'm glad you felt that these were helpful. So let's see. Let me just review in my brain here. Was there something else I was going to tell you about this? Oh, so the only other thing I did was I added these cute starburst sequins because I thought these colors looked great. I added some yellow ones and some of the petunia colored ones. Do you need something?
It smells like a fire.
It does smell like a fire. Go outside and look. Let me know what you find out.
Been.
What?
I have been.
Oh, okay. You don't see anything?
No.
Yeah, it does smell like a fire. I hope it's not our house. Does it smell outside too?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, everybody. Just my son walked by and he had a concerned look, and it does smell like a fire. Now that I'm like stopped coloring and I'm out of my zone, I'm like, oh yeah, it does smell like a fire. Ugh, that's not good. Debbie said, where do I buy my frames? I think I got them at Michael's. I think. I've had them for a while. Oh, that's what I was going to show you was the last project. Don't go away. I have another project to show you. Thank you for reminding me. The purple flowers. Yes, Robin, I will do that. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just checking. Okay, yes, I will show you the purple flowers. But let me show you the other project because I knew there was something else. I'm like, what am I supposed to be doing here? So I wanted to show you one more project. Hang on, I need to get this situated so that the glare, let me put this underneath, see if that helps, so that you don't have a glare. There you go. I wanted to show you one more idea. I used basically the exact same idea. However, this one uses the Memories and More cards. And you can see what I did. I just used my Stylish Shapes squares and I cut right out of the 3x4 Memories and More cards. See that? And I have to tell you, after I did that, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not throwing these away. I'm going to use these on scrapbook pages. Isn't that fun? Wouldn't that be cool to use those as frames? They kind of look like Polaroid frames in a way. But that's what I did for this one. So it's basically the same measurements. And these are all the colored images from these Memories and More cards. So as I said in the beginning, if you don't want to color, if you are intimidated, if you still want to make something pretty, you can grab the Memories and More pack or even DSP. Not all of the DSP is going to have something quite like this though. But you can grab a pack of Memories and More cards and you can create a beautiful collage. And I think this one turned out gorgeous. I just love it. And I did use layers from that same, oh no, wait, is that from this one? Florals in Bloom. Hang on, there's another pack here. I used two different packs. And now I don't even know which one was which. Floral Impressions and Florals in Bloom are both two new packages. And I've mixed and matched them. And now I can't remember which one's which. Oh, wait, look, I can see this. This one is in the back. So this one I think is in Floral Impressions, I think. I better verify. Oh my gosh. I might have even said the wrong thing in the beginning. See, I've mixed and matched them. Anyway, there's two new packs coming out May 6th. You'll want them both. Let's just leave it at that. There we go. How's that? But anyway, this was where I used the Easter blessings. I showed you that before. And even though it's one long skinny stamp, I just stamped Easter and then I stamped blessings. So that is in the center of this one. And let's see, I don't think I went over these before. The stamps I did use on the other was Thankful Garden, Mixed Florals, Enduring Beauty, and Kiss of Texture. They're all on pattystamps.com today if you need to review the supplies. But yeah, I wanted to show you this because I know not everybody is going to want to color, or maybe you want to make several of these really quickly as like craft fair projects or gifts for Mother's Day or an Easter gift for grandma or, you know, whatever. This would be a quicker way to do that and a way to avoid the coloring if you didn't want to color. Floral Impressions. Thank you, Liz. I know I've used both of them and now I was like, uh-oh. Kim is asking, how do I pick my colors? So as I said in the beginning, I went with just sort of a rainbow. And normally I would add in Poppy Parade or Real Red or a little bit more of a red tone to this color palette. This is my favorite color palette. But I went with more of the purples instead on this color palette for that first one. And really, Kim, like the simple answer to how do I pick my colors is I pick colors that make me happy. These colors make me happy. This is what I love. So this is what I used. You'll notice it's not very heavy on like the oranges or the browns. Fall colors are gorgeous, but they don't float my boat. The spring and summer colors make me super happy. So that's what I used. And if you just do a rainbow, like I was saying, something in the reds, the oranges, the pinks, the purples, the yellows, the blues, and the greens, those 7, if you pick one of each, you're going to have a beautiful palette. And it just so happened that this particular paper was the perfect complement to the colors that I used. So that was just like happy accident. I did not plan that. But you can use designer paper to help you pick your colors. So I could have started with this, pulled out the colors, and then colored. So, you know, however you want to do it. But if you're kind of lost at all, you can use the designer paper to give you a starting point. And then always swatch your colors, and then you'll see if you like them together before you actually start your project. That's a great tip. And it also, like I told you, when I wanted the lightest pink, I was going to grab light flirty flamingo, and I was like, nope, light bubble bath is lighter. So that helps me in that process. Yes, you could put photos in a few spots, Julie. That would be beautiful. I love that idea. I love that. Thank you. They are pretty happy colors, Polly. Yep, they make me happy, and that's what counted, right? So now Robin asked to see coloring for the purple flowers. So let me do that. And yes, I only had 1 cup of coffee today, and I'm still so excited and so happy about doing these projects that I just bubble over with enthusiasm. So I did use, I'll zoom in a little here to help you. So I did use the pinky purples up here. So let's pull out our bubble bath, and petunia. I'm just checking the colors. Petunia and blackberry. Okay, I did use those. And I started with the lightest, which is the light bubble bath. And I basically just, I call this kind of loosely coloring. I'm not going absolutely to the edge of every single flower. I'm just loosely filling in. And if you prefer to take longer and do like very careful coloring, I guess that would be the opposite of this, you can totally do that. You can do this however you want. But I just do a loose layer of color with my lightest color. And then I will go to the next darkest, which would be the dark bubble bath. And then I just sort of add kind of some strokes, but I'm not going all the way out to the tips because I want some light and some dark. So kind of more in the middle. And I don't know if you can see this, but what I was trying to explain, this is a perfect example. When I colored with the light and I went to the dark, those have really just blended in. You can hardly see the difference. You can tell just a little bit on the tips that I left the lighter color. But they've blended. If I would have waited, the dark would show up darker because the light would have already been dry. So now I'm going to go to the light petunia pop and put some color, in the centers a little bit. And then I am just going to pull a little bit of that color out into the petals. Sorry, sometimes I can't color and talk at the same time. Sometimes I can. Some days are a little more amazing than others, right? Okay, so a little bit of pulling that light petunia pop out into the bubble bath. So that's our next layer of color. And then our dark petunia pop. Let's darken the centers again. And I can't promise you that this is exactly how I colored that first one, but this is the general idea, is to just keep adding darker and darker, but you are covering up less and less of the image. So I'm not going all the way to the edge like I did with the light and dark bubble bath, because I want the lights and the darks to show. But now I'm going to come back with my lightest color and go over it again, basically the whole thing. And I don't know if you noticed, but some of those flowers I left light and some I added the dark, because I don't want everyone to be exactly the same. I want a little bit of difference there. And then with the dark bubble bath, I'll just give one more layer of color. And then as this sits for just a minute, those are going to like blend together. And the last thing I did, I think it was the dark bubble bath. It doesn't really matter. I flicked color all over because I want, man, I can hardly even see that. I think I might do it with Petunia Pop. I flicked, yeah, a little bit of light Petunia Pop, so that the background kind of has a little more of a fill-in of color, but I don't want to color it. I just want there to be some color there. And then we can just real quickly do the green, and then I think it will be kind of blended and you'll be able to see how the color just blends together. And just use those lines that the Stampin' Up! Artist gave us to add your darker colors, your darker layers. And then I think, see, now that those purples have kind of dried a bit, I'm going to be brave and I'm going to use the Blackberry Bliss and go just into the centers, darken some of those centers so that we have one extra layer of light and dark happening. Well, the good news is I don't smell any more of that smoke, so I don't know what that was out there. Maybe somebody, I don't know why anybody would start their fireplace today, but maybe they did. I don't know. So there you have the pink, purple, and three different ideas there for you. All the same color palette, but they are all just slightly different so that you get a little more concentration on different, the yellows, the pink and purples, the lighter pinks and the yellows. And then they all just blend nicely together because I've used that same palette and I've used the same greens to add greens into the colors. Thank you, Debbie. Yes, home is safe. Thank you. Oh, Tammy says it looks like I used the masks. Nope, I did not use the masks, just coloring. But you could use the masks. You could totally use the mask to lay down a base layer, and then you could add your coloring on top. You totally could do that. So I'll just bring in the finished one more time so you can see. And I will just check and see if anybody had questions. don't see any. I am glad you all like it. Thank you so very much. Thank you, thank you. I am glad you enjoyed it. I cannot believe I've been talking for an hour. This felt like 5 minutes, my friends. I appreciate you hanging out with me and checking out my Friday videos. You are so kind to join me. So just as a reminder, if you're looking for the pictures, the dimensions, pattystamps.com on April 12th. And then I actually have this one on a separate blog post for Sunday the 13th. It was just a little much to put all in one blog post. So if you're looking for the Memories and More example, that will be the next day on Sunday. You are welcome, Emma. Thank you, Lois. Thanks. Oh, Dickie. Gosh, I need new glasses. Thank you, everybody. Which card kit did you cut? On the Memories and More, it's the mixed florals. I'm sorry, I don't think I said that, so you didn't miss it. I didn't say it. I'm sorry, Josie. Is Hello Spring available now? Yes, Debbie, you can go to my blog and you can click the link at the bottom of the post. This one, Storybook Life, is still available. So yes, you can get that. You can just click the link at the bottom of my blog post. Yes, time does fly when we're having fun, doesn't it? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, let's see. Johanna says, I'm glad you like that. The flicking. Yes, I love it. It's just a different way. Let me grab that one. A different way to add a little bit of subtle color without actually coloring in. So yes, I love the flicking method. That's a fun way to add color. Let's see, anything else? Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, everybody. Hi, Anne. Yes, coloring time. It feeds my soul, Anne. You're welcome, Nancy. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, everyone. Everybody have a fabulous weekend. And I hope that you have some coloring time set aside for your projects. I will see you all next week, everybody. Bye.